Welcome everyone to Dive Talk episode number 25. This episode is right in the middle of the holidays. Everyone is checked out for the most part. We're not. We're thinking about diving. This past weekend, you and I were gone in Florida. Same town, different missions, it seems like. Woody?
I was instructing brand new. Listen to the difference of what we were doing. Yes. I was instructing brand new open water, open circuit divers on their open water certification in caverns. So, I think people remember what those skills are, like clear your regulator, I'm just saying,
yes.
Mask clearing, just having them learn to be neutral, even some snorkeling skills. Now we were in the same general area. Was that similar to what you were experiencing?
I was nowhere near this. By the way, until like a day before you headed out there, I had like no plans essentially for the weekend. And then Doug Ebersol posted on Facebook that he's cave diving with Joseph, our mutual friend, cave diver. And I was like, well, are the caves full or like, can you take one more? And Doug was like, absolutely, come on over. So I ended up going cave diving without you for the first time, I feel like. And it was epic. Like the most awesome 2 days. Day one, we went on Ginny, like to the dome rooms.
Yeah, the double domes.
Double domes. All the way back there,
yeah,
which was awesome. I love those rooms, by the way.
Yeah.
So I never passed the bats.
Okay.
I always feel like I turn around at the bats.
Yeah.
But this time we just
pretty.
Kept going. Got 1,000 more feet. Or something like that to the double domes, which was awesome.
I'd have to look on the map. What is that, about 2,000?
Well, the double dome rooms on the goal line, which is the main line in the cave, for those of you listening, is about 1,800 feet, 1,850, something like that.
There you go. That's
but
what I said,
but we took the hill 400 and made a bunch of jumps, and so it was longer than 1,800 going there.
Yeah, but you're 1,800 from an exit.
Correct.
That's what matters. So
yeah. And it was, and obviously on the way out, you're coming with the flow, which is the beauty of
it's fun.
Ginny, which was awesome. Brian and Vicky were with us, which are a couple of friends of ours that dive DPVs, hardcore, Recondos. And they're awesome. And I didn't even hear, like, their DPVs are epic, by the way. You cannot hear them. Like, at some point, we were, like, doing a jump or something, and all of a sudden, I just see these 2 torpedoes swim by me. I'm like, what? I didn't even hear them at all. So, totally jealous. And then I ended up playing with a DPV, which was, like, rubbing salt in the wound for you, because while you were swimming at 25 feet or whatever, with brand new students.
I think we got to 50.
So, Ginny, obviously, because I'm not DPV certified yet, we're doing that class in a couple months. Out on just the water, that little, inlet or whatever where you go to the cave entrance. Brian was like, oh, you want to play with a DPV? And I'm like, absolutely. How do I get to 9 or whatever the maximum speed? And he was like, this is how you do it. You just double click here, do this or whatever. And then he showed me, and I was flying with that thing. It was awesome. Pretty awesome. But for some reason, and this is part of what I'm going to learn in the class, I feel more comfortable riding the DPV sideways. It's the weirdest thing.
Sideways.
Yeah. So I'm like sideways in it, and it feels way more comfortable. It's the weirdest thing. I can if I force myself to be
it's sort of on your side a little bit. It should.
It's supposed to be like right below you, so the wash
below you, maybe a little bit off.
Yeah, but for some reason, sideways it was easier for me. I don't know why.
But that may be tricky inside of certain restrictions.
That's because I don't know what I'm doing, but I will know what I'm doing in a few months, which was awesome. And then on Sunday, I threw this mission out there of doing Peacock Springs. You guys listening to this, you can Google this. Something called the Grand Traverse at Peacock Springs, which is 4,800 feet, so almost a mile of swimming. Super long. If you're in open circuit, you can do it.
But you just for safety reasons, you all explained that you had escape traverses along the way.
Correct.
So it's not a 4,800 feet back from an exit. That's very important.
You are never more than 900 feet actually from an exit, because
Yes.
the longest swim was
That's why that can be
Yep.
done.
the longest swim was 1,800 feet, which was between Challenge Sink, which is essentially a hole that you can come out of, in the middle of the jungle in Florida, and Orange Grove, which is the large opening. By the way, Orange Grove is awesome. I loved it. It's full of duckweed, but is pretty awesome. And then we showed up. I thought I was hallucinating. There were like 30 mermaids at Orange Grove. Like, I'm coming out and I'm like, am I?
Really, they
Am
were
I?
practicing.
Yes, full on mermaids, like
That's a
makeup,
big thing now.
like 30. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
And I'm like,
huge growing
yeah,
activity.
I know. And so we came out, and before we started, right, I mentioned I want to do the Grand Traverse. And we were like, well, how do we do it? Like, we have to set up vehicles over there. Like, it's a lot of swimming. I'm like, no, we'll just swim back. And they're like, so you want to do the Grand Traverse twice? It's 2 miles of swimming? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And it's like, has anybody done it? No one has done it. Right? Doug
So
hasn't
they
done it.
usually get out at the end of it, climb
Yes.
out there.
Yes. Well, out of Orange Grove, which there's stairs. It's like it's fine. But I mean, your car is 2 miles or a mile away at Peacock One, which is where you enter.
Oh yeah, I would have thought everybody would have swam it back.
No, like nobody wanted to. But Brian, who has like 500 cave dives in December, right?
Right.
Who lives at the caves and just that's all he does. He had never done it. And I said, Brian, how come you've never done the double Grand Traverse? And he's like, well, because my body's always tired and no one wanted to do it. And I'm like, well, I am tired. I'm not saying I'm not, but it's kind of like a mission. It's now,
Right.
you have to do it. So you want to go back with me? So he was like, let's do it. So Doug and Joseph stayed at Orange Grove. We had a car over there, so they just drove back. And they went to have a sandwich or whatever while we were swimming back, because it took about 2 hours on the
Wow.
way back. And yeah, we did it. We completed the whole thing. So it was almost 2 miles inside the caves. And it was epic, It was pretty awesome. But the cool thing is, I met Paul Heinerth,
Oh yeah, yeah, he's there a lot.
legendary cave diver, Brian Kaycock's instructor.
He is. Yeah, he's there a lot. He
Ex-husband,
does
yeah.
a lot of
Jill
training.
Heinerth, everybody knows her. Yeah, Paul Heinerth was there.
Nice guy too.
Awesome. Love that guy. Because I never knew him, because if you look at his Facebook picture, it's like him covering duckweed. You can't even see his face. So I didn't even know how he looks. But he was just standing right next to me, and Doug was like, "Oh, have you met Paul?" And I'm like, "What? Paul Heinerth." So I just met him, and Paul was like, "So what are you doing today?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're doing the Grand Traverse and back." And he's like, "Man, you're way younger than me. Like, you guys are nuts if you're doing that." And everybody looked at us like we were crazy, but we did it. And I mean, I felt like my feet and my legs for days. Like
A lot
today.
of swimming.
Today's Friday. We did that on Sunday, and finally I don't feel it, but it took a few days.
Yeah.
It was a lot. But you got to do it. You got to join us next time.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to do it, but
I'm trying to think the
I want
most
you to
I've
do
done in one in actual distance
Bahamas,
is,
right? It has to be.
8,000, but 4,000 back, as in 4,000 feet from the exit.
wow.
So we brought stage bottles. It was in the Bahamas.
yeah.
I mean, you have to bring 80 cubic foot staging tanks,
Yeah, for safety.
and that was long. That was a long journey. So I
yeah,
I know what you're
8,000 feet
saying.
is a lot, because we did 8,000 feet at Peacock too when we went to Woody's room, but we came out, we took breaks. Like we weren't
yeah
ever like
this
more
is-
than 1,000 feet from an exit.
Yeah, yeah. That was a dive. That was sort of my graduation dive. I had already graduated. I already passed the class, and now the reward was that big dive back to Fanghorn Forest, an absolutely exquisite room. But it's very
A lot of
delicate,
swimming.
and not just swimming, but you got to be super careful. I mean, there's crystal formations everywhere, so Brian's really guarded about that particular dive. But
That's
I
awesome.
thought that was a long one, but yeah, but 10,000 with the Grand Traverse. But you got to stop some, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You have
For
to.
sure. We stopped like every chance we could to just take a
Come
breather.
back out of the opening. of
Yeah,
the
only
various
for
ways.
2 minutes though. We timed it so it was just 2 minutes. 2-minute break. Let's go again. 40-minute swim, or less than 40.
Yeah.
Come out again. 2-minute break. Go for 40 again.
Yeah.
We did that 6 times. So
Yep. I know. It's a long.
yeah, but it was awesome. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad Brian decided to join me and get it done, because it was one of those you
Oh, yeah.
have to do it. you know. And I just wanted to mention that the year is not over yet. In 10 days, what is it? 10 days from now? 12 days from now.
Not even that. Wait, before we get to that,
Oh, because
we just
that's
lit
right.
up another cave trip on the
That's
26th and 27th.
Because-
That I'm going to be diving the Sidewinder, side-mounted rebreather
Yeah.
cave diving, just because I'm tweaking my Sidewinder to
right.
be on the new Katana 2. So that's coming.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to do, but it's with Brian.
It's funny
so
because
anything could happen.
You mentioned today that you're going on the 26th and 27th cave diving. I'm like, man, but we just went. Oh, that's right. Woody wasn't there.
No, I was teaching.
You gotta go do it.
You know, I do teach.
I do want to do. I want to go. I hope we can make it work because I filled up like my O2 tanks and everything, which because we're going to Mexico after that, which is what I wanted to mention.
We need to work on your kicks.
On the
You can tell
30th,
everybody that.
yes, I have to get better at the kicks for sure and buoyancy overall. I need to perfect that. But I have my O2 tanks are pretty much filled, so I was sort of like, I mean,
Well, then you got to dump it. If we're
I
gonna
gotta
take it on
dump it if
Mexico.
I go to Mexico. So might as well dump it in a cave somewhere, diving. So hopefully we can make that work. But yeah, on the 30th we're going to Mexico, which I'm excited about. It's drift diving in Cozumel, but for some reason I don't know if it's just because Mike is gonna be there, but we came up with the idea of diving at a crocodile infested cave.
Well, the
Who
entrance
came up with that
to
great
get
idea?
into it, you got to deal with the crocodiles.
It looks like the river from the Indiana Jones movie. You know, the river where the guys will fall and the crocodiles will
It's
eat.
awesome.
That's what it looks like.
But just think of the pictures.
Well,
Can't wait for that dive.
It's all for the Instagrams.
It's going to be awesome.
So
And we're cave diving, but we're really going for Cozumel drift diving.
for sure.
This is just going to be a field trip. One day we're carving out for cave diving.
Yes.
It happens to be in this cave that, like you said, it's infested with crocodiles. It's fine. Should be interesting.
Ridiculous. Like I searched for the name of it.
Not alligators, because alligators are kind of
No.
the most
They're
aggressive
docile.
of all of them is the crocs. That's who we decided to go cave diving with.
It's ridiculous. But I Google image the cave just because I wanted to see how it was. It's like 50%, or I would say 40% are pictures of crocodiles, 20% are pictures of the caves, 40% are pictures of people bitten by crocodiles, like their bite marks. It's the other 40%. I'm like, oh my God.
You don't want to stay with them
This
for
is
long.
No. Like I'm gonna negative
It's gonna be pretty
entry
cool.
that immediately into the cave.
Yeah, but they know what they're doing. We're going with guys that dive those caves a lot, and
Yeah.
it's not like we're going in there by ourselves. And we're going to have a guide, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited about that trip. That's going to be awesome. So, yeah, it's going to be fun between now and the next episode. I don't know if we're going to have to skip an episode like during the whole New Year's. I do want to try to record one from Cozumel if we have time.
You're going
since-
to bring your stuff?
I should.
The whole mobile kit?
I think I should. Because, I mean,
Well, you got Mike there, too.
we have Mike Young there.
Yeah,
we
you
have,
should- we should.
Doug.
We
Like,
should. If you can bring it, that'd be great.
everyone is there. And I think it would be a great timing to do an episode about cave diving. So we have all these masters
I would.
literally there. So people want to hear a little bit more about cave diving. But anyway, the year is coming to an end. And I was thinking about...
Well,
go ahead.
before you jump onto that, the year coming to an end, and getting into the new topic, I think we need to respond to some comments that we got about our challenge.
That's
which
true.
we haven't fine-tuned it yet. We haven't put all the rules around it yet. We haven't created an award yet. But you told me you got feedback that really we started to add all these technical diving requirements to the end of it, and people were like, "Look, I think you should separate it. One is a recreational one," and I sort of alluded to that. I thought that was right when we were doing it, and then another one is a technical one. So
Yeah.
I think we agree with that. So we're going to sort of split those requirements up. We'll repost them once we fine tune it, and it's two separate awards. Of course, if you get both of them, then maybe it's a third award that says you got
the
both of
ultimate.
them.
Yeah.
So that could, I think we got to. So we just did. We responded.
is true.
So that was a good comment from a few people.
Yeah. And one of our listeners, Scott, he reached out to me, and he's the first one who mentioned that. A couple more people mentioned that as well, that, hey, man, like I was with you and excited about doing this challenge as long as you guys kept talking about the recreational stuff. But once you started talking about, super deep diving, in other words, trimix, breathing, and you started talking about, some of these other,
Yeah. Simulator.
tech stuff, that's when you lost me. And I feel that if we had a recreational diving challenge and a technical diving challenge, then that would be better. So we just wanted to let you know that we heard you, and we'll work on it to make it better for sure. And I got a couple of other, feedback, obviously, along the way about other episodes. We've actually gotten a bunch of comments, too, on some of the videos that we've posted on YouTube. So for those of you who are not aware, we do have a YouTube channel. All of our podcast episodes are posted there. But once in a while, I post a video there. For a variety of reasons. One of them was responding to this video about Jacob's Well. I think I mentioned this before, and I got a few comments about that. I think it's titled Cave Diver Reacts to the truth about Jacob's Well. It's this video that somebody recorded. It has millions and millions and millions of views, and it's clearly, like, the person who did it clearly is not a diver. Like, the way they're talking and the things that they say, they don't know what they're talking about. Okay. And they're making it sound like, going into Jacob's Well or cave diving overall is suicidal and nobody should do it. And that if you go in there, you're going to die immediately. And it was ridiculous. So anyway, I recorded this video of me reacting to that video, and it has a bunch of views and a bunch of comments. So thanks everyone who watched it and providing your comments. One of them was pretty long, actually, and super accurate, calling me out for a few things I said, and they're right, so I have to respond to them. So anyway, as I was mentioning, the year coming to an end, I was looking back at some of the things that I learned over the year and some of the articles that were written about diving over the year. And there were two that caught my attention. I wanted to get your reaction on this. They're pretty short articles. I think one of them is not so much about your reaction. It's just more like a fun article. And then the other one is interesting, and I think is more connected to the episode we did with Doug, which was about medical questions I had about diving. But this one is 7 things you should never do immediately after diving. And I wonder if you agree with them, because some of these are kind of up for debate.
Okay, that's a good topic. Interesting.
Yep. But
some of them are sort of probably going to be standard things. I bet one of them is don't fly.
Right. It's number 1, right? So flying after diving. We've talked about this before. We know that the cabin is pressurized to like 8,000 feet or so.
Exactly.
2,000 to 8,000 is the actual numbers on planes for the most part.
Now, what we could add, though, to that one, Gus, is interesting is, let's say I did a 30-foot dive for 1 hour. Mm-hmm. Would you fly immediately after that?
Yeah, 10 meters to 30 feet. Immediately after that. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever be in a situation.
Have you ever looked at your dive computer at 30 feet after 1 hour?
I don't dive to 30 feet ever.
Okay.
Anymore.
I'm going to tell you, it probably still says greater than 99.
Yeah.
And it will not likely trigger a safety stop.
No.
Most dive computers probably won't even trigger a safety stop. So
the whole dive is a safety stop.
May not have built up such a very minimal amount. So we say do not fly after any diving. That's a very safe, conservative rule that you should follow, but
depends on the dive.
It really does.
Yeah.
But let's use our show to be safe. Don't fly after diving. End of story. If you did one dive, the general rule is wait at least 12 hours.
Correct.
And if you did more than one dive, some agencies say wait 18 hours.
Yep.
Others say wait 24 hours.
That's right.
And most dive computers actually do a 24-hour countdown.
Yeah, and that's just
we'll agree with that one.
That's just to err on the side of safety, obviously. 24
let's
hours.
agree with that one.
Yep, for sure. So that one we agree. And if you want more information, because I pushed Doug to answer the question, because this is one of those things that you learn, and it's sort of a fact, like don't fly after 24 hours or whatever. But I wanted to know what happens if I do. Like, don't just tell me don't do it and explain why, but I want to know what happens if I say, you know what, I don't believe in this. I'm going to fly anyway. And Doug answered those questions, right? And he said, well, maybe you'll die. Maybe you won't. Like, he went into that detail. So if you go back and listen to that episode, if you haven't, we go into, I guess, detail.
But most people don't want to hear maybe you'll die and maybe you won't.
No.
It's good enough to say, I'm not flying.
Correct.
So that's it. You're just not flying. Just plan your dives accordingly.
Just go back and listen to that.
Let's not challenge that one anymore. Let's move on, because that's a pretty long-standing rule.
Yep. The next one is doing activities that might include a mountaintop. right? I know that you like climbing. And there are places like St. Lucia, for example, which are right at the beach, and then it has those mountains,
climbing
right?
right there.
So beautiful, right? So the article says, enjoying the view from a mountaintop. Driving, and they're not talking about climbing, but driving to the top of a 10,000-foot mountain to snap some pictures puts you at the same risk as flying on a plane.
Yep.
So it's not just about flying and be like, okay, I can't fly, but let me go to the top of this 10,000-foot mountain.
Yeah, that's obvious. I mean,
Or
the whole
3,000
altitude-
meters.
The whole altitude thing is really something we shouldn't challenge at all.
Right. Here's another one. And by the way, this says, just don't go to altitude. But the next one is zip lining, the next activity. And it says zip lining as an activity is fine. So it's not the actual activity. The concern is altitude, once again. Many zip lining activities occur in the mountains, so confirm the altitude of your zip lining destination before you book, and obviously do it with caution, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
it's not zip lining,
can
it's anything
change.
at altitude.
Right. I mean, that can be a good 1,000, 2,000, even more foot drop on some of those zip lines.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to get up to it.
You got to
the
get
way
up
a
to
zip
it.
line works is they go down. So okay.
And I think they're talking about, like Costa Rica, for example, who has a lot of, zip line. You're out there diving and let's just go to this mountain and go zip line.
Get bent.
You will get bent.
So
here's another one. This might be controversial. Deep tissue massage. All right.
I've heard that before because doesn't that increase circulation?
All right. Let's read. It says, according to Dan, massage specifically has not been associated with DCS. Just massage. But they're talking about deep tissue massage. And here's what they say. Experts caution against deep tissue massage in particular, but a gentle relaxation massage is probably fine. The two main concerns with deep tissue massage are, number one, increased blood flow, which is what you said, and that might lead to bubble formation. And two, muscle soreness that might cause some soreness to be misdiagnosed for DCS. Or, in other words, you may think you have muscle soreness from the deep tissue massage, but you actually have DCS, but you're saying, nah, it's not DCS, it's probably the massage. You're ignoring the fact that you have muscle soreness, which could have been caused by DCS because you think is a massage. Make sense?
I don't disagree. I mean, I would say I've heard this for many, many years. And again, if I did a very shallow dive, would I go get a massage? Probably. Whereas I wouldn't fly. But a light massage, yeah.
Yeah. Just not deep tissue. And I'm not a big fan of massages to begin with. But the ones where you get beat up, I don't understand that.
Well, it's good for you.
It's supposed to be relaxed. Is it?
Yeah. It's good for your circulation. It's good for the muscles. It enhances flexibility. So there's a lot of science behind the, medical benefits of massage. But okay, I'm not sure what to add to this discussion.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you're gonna have a spa day, then maybe do that on a day you're not diving.
I think we should add a Turkish bath to that, because don't they beat you up in a Turkish bath? I feel like
it's not like I'm in Turkish baths regularly, but what I will say is that the whole spa day, which would include massage, hot tubs, steam rooms,
boxing and
that's
MMA,
cause you to sweat a lot of dehydration after massage. They say you should drink a lot of fluids and put fluids back in your body. So I'm going to say that I would probably separate a dive day from a spa day, which, by the way, brings up when we go to Mexico, I guess I'm not going to be getting deep tissue massages every day like I was thinking about doing. I forgot about that. Okay, but I'll get a light massage.
Oh, my God. All right. Next one, and this is actually, it reminds me of Doug because he says, I never understood why liveaboards have hot tubs, but
they don't. Many of them don't.
Relaxing in a hot tub.
Many of them don't.
And he says, as the body warms up and circulation improves, there is an increased chance of bubble formation. Since the solubility of gas is inversely related to temperature, tissues will hold less in solution as they warm. Warming tissue, which you get by being on the hot tub, obviously, with significant loads can promote bubble formation. Since the warming of the superficial tissues precedes the increase in blood flow, such bubbles can become problematic before the circulation can remove them harmlessly. So, yes, if you go in a hot tub after diving, there's a chance that you can bubble up.
That's been well known. Most liveaboards, I can't think of any liveaboards that I've been on in many recent years that still have hot tubs. You could tell that some of them did. They've closed them or they've gotten rid of them.
They do have massages, though, right? Didn't you go to one in Indonesia?
They
that had a
do.
massage?
They do. Light massages. They do have massages, but none of them have hot tubs.
Nice. So yeah, that was the, well, not the last one. There's one more. I don't know. This also might be controversial, but it says intense partying.
Well, that's alcohol.
You shouldn't do. But it's funny because intense partying, like you have to drink to party,
and you're gonna be dehydrated,
or else you can't party. I guess according to.
Well, we've been around people that have been bent. You know what we do? We try to load them up with hydration, and we put them on oxygen.
Correct.
Loading them up with alcohol is just drying up their system, which is going to make them more bent.
Yep. So it says drinking a lot of alcohol can cause dehydration and delay diagnosis of DCS. If you want to unwind with a few adult beverages, first drink lots of water and then enjoy with moderation.
So that's what I said. So we're going to be in Cozumel on December 31st.
Which, by the way, it pains me because it's an all-inclusive 5-star resort.
So that evening,
we can take advantage of it.
We could tell. I mean, you can have a drink or two. They're talking about intense. I mean, don't drink.
I like to get my money's worth.
Don't drink the whole bottle of tequila that evening, but a couple of drinks are not going to be the end of the world. There's a balance here.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Intense partying. I mean, are we intense partiers? From what I remember, typically of our group, after a day of diving, our eyes are barely open. The eyelids are 3/4 shut at about 9 p.m.
We're drowning.
How are we going to make it to 12? I don't know. I'm going to have to do everything possible to make it till midnight.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough.
The really intense party, 12:01. I'm in my bed. If I make it.
That's gonna be interesting. The whole New Year's. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that. So that was it. That was the 7 things that you shouldn't do after diving.
Nothing earth-shattering there.
Yeah,
honestly, these are well known for years.
Yeah. Do we teach? I don't remember. Do we teach people about the whole hot tub thing in open water? I mean,
we do.
I know that no flying.
More on trips. We
and
tell
don't
them
drink.
not to do that. Don't exercise. Don't go in
smoke.
hot tubs.
Don't drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the hot tub. But okay. Yeah. Okay. And then the other article is related to our episode about sharks. Because I still get the same thing, with cave diving and with regular diving but there are sharks, right? Everyone gets concerned about it. So Scuba Diving Magazine wrote this article about 18 things that are more dangerous than sharks.
That's an interesting topic.
Some of these are pretty funny. So let me start by saying.
And but I don't even like that. More dangerous than sharks already makes people start to think sharks are dangerous. It's so ridiculous. I have been diving with sharks for so many decades and have never, ever seen a shark do anything other than typically try to get away from me.
That's right.
Never come towards me, never act aggressive. I have even been diving during shark feedings, and the shark's not interested in the person feeding them.
Yeah.
It's just so overblown. It really is a shame.
There was a really cool video online from Mark Rober, who, for those of you who don't know, Mark Rober is blowing up on YouTube. He used to be an engineer at NASA. He worked on the rovers that we sent to Mars and stuff. The guy is super smart, right? He's an engineer from NASA. He has a YouTube channel, and he did this experiment about whether it was with Shaquille O'Neal, I think. He did this experiment of whether the sharks can smell blood in the water and like come after you and like try to bite. Like if you get a cod or whatever, like will sharks start attacking you if you're bleeding? And it's super interesting because the way he did it is he put like
you have to cut your whole arm off. A little cut is not going to do anything.
And he did like fish blood versus like regular mammal blood. He didn't use human blood. He used like cow blood or something like that. And the sharks didn't care less about they were all over the fish blood and guts. They were like,
know.
oh my God.
That's their food source.
Yeah. And then he dumped all this blood for cows
There's
or
a lot
whatever.
of myths.
And the sharks
Bad
are
myths.
like, I don't even know what that is.
So as you go through these items, I would just like to start to say that, I mean, everything is more dangerous than diving with sharks. Like the diving itself is the danger. The sharks are not. I mean, driving your car is more dangerous than being with sharks. I mean, I don't know what it's going to say on there. I've read things like you have a bigger chance of having a coconut drop on your head and kill you than being attacked by a shark.
That's right. So they're talking about, what are the chances of you getting killed by a shark? So they're saying 1 in 3.75 million.
Which is
1 in 3.75 million, which is huge. So just for comparison, the chances of falling out of your bed and dying, right, is 1 in 225,000.
Exactly. Let's think about so that's almost 15 times greater chance than getting killed by a shark.
Exactly.
Falling out of your bed and dying, 15 times greater chance. Okay, next one.
So sharks are responsible for about 10 deaths a year globally. All right. There's 8 deaths every day in the U.S. from people texting and driving.
That makes sense. That's dangerous.
8 deaths a day. Yeah, in the U.S.
And by the way, for scuba divers, of those however many shark deaths a year you said, I bet it's even less for scuba divers.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably like 0 to 1.
Exactly, every year, yeah. I think we were talking on that episode with Bill, and he said something like 3 deaths and 4 years. So less than 1 per year.
Yeah.
Okay. Driving, 1 in 272 is your chances of dying in a car accident. So if you do have a car accident. Celebrating, it says, more than 24 people every year are killed by champagne corks.
None of this surprises me.
More than 24 people and only 10 for sharks. So, I mean, what are the chances that you're going to get killed by a champagne cork? 113 deaths a year for ladder-related fatalities.
Ladder. That's funny.
So, anyway, they go in and they talk about all these animals that kill more than sharks.
Yeah, what are those? That's interesting.
I mean, obviously, mosquito number 1. The mosquitoes kill.
I think hippopotamus is more than sharks on something I read once.
Yeah, snakes 50,000, dogs 25,000, flies 10,000. There's a bug called assassin bug. I don't even know what that is. 10,000. Freshwater snails kill 10,000 people a year. I don't know how. What, poison? I don't. You slip on them.
I don't know. They eat them. People eat them, and they're.
I don't know. Some worm is 2,500, 2,000 and another one. Crocodiles kill 1,000. Hippos kill 500.
I told you. Hippos.
500 a year.
Who's hanging out with hippos? Well, the people go get water and they come flying out.
I guess so. Lions 100, elephants 100, wolves 10.
I guess we should pay attention to the croc one since you and I are decided to go cave diving with crocodiles. How many are the crocs again?
Crocs is 1,000.
I don't want to add to that this year.
Number of people killed by animals per year. Yeah, let's not get on that list. How many Americans do you think die every year from cows? How many people are killed by cows in the U.S. every year?
There's a lot of farmers and people out there messing with cows. I guess that's just by being stampeded by accident, I guess. I mean, is there like cows per year deaths? 100?
20 Americans get killed by cows every year.
Stampede, I guess.
I guess so, or kicked or stomped on.
I mean, they're pretty mellow.
How about deer?
They smash through car windows is how that one happens.
130 people get killed by deer.
Yeah, but that's the deer getting hit by the car, and then they come flying through your windshield.
It's ridiculous. Bees, 30 people every year. Ants too, by the way. 30 people a year killed by ants. How do you get killed by ants?
fall down in their pile, killer animal.
And then like what? Get paralyzed by the
wake
fall?
up, you took a nap outside, and you're just
Drunk?
infested with ants all over your body.
I guess so. So this article says, statistically
So sharks
speaking,
are safe.
yeah, sharks are safe
That's
for
the
sure.
bottom line. We've said that.
Statistically speaking, people may be safer underwater.
Exactly. We've been saying this for years.
Yeah. So when you count all of those, risks of getting hurt or dying above the surface, being underwater is safer. It says because the average human has 1 in 63 chance of dying from the flu. Compare that to 3.7 million chances of dying by a shark. So, yeah.
Sharks are safe.
And you were talking earlier about what are the numbers or whatever for divers. So here's the breakdown. Surfers, 51% of deaths.
Makes sense. They look like the food source.
Yeah, from the depth. Swimmers, 38%.
Okay.
So people just swimming again at the surface.
So that's already 89%.
Divers and snorkelers, both 8%.
8% of the 7
10
per
kills
year.
a day.
10
10 kills
per
a year globally. So that's less than one.
globally.
Yeah,
7%. So not even 1 per year from scuba diving.
correct. And diving and snorkeling. So who knows
But
what the breakdown is
This
there
makes
between.
sense.
Yeah.
Why did they get such a bad rap? How did that happen? What was it? Jaws? Was it
I guess so.
just Shark Week? But they're so. I promise everybody listening, you want to dive with sharks. You hope to dive with sharks, because when you do, that reef system is usually way healthier for many reasons. I mean, that's a whole nother show about sharks keeping the ecosystem in balance. But
For sure.
unbelievable.
Amazing. All the things that are more dangerous than sharks. So yeah, absolutely. Nothing to be
we're
afraid
super
of.
afraid of them.
So anyway, I saw those two articles. I wanted to.
So nothing
You know-
earth-shattering on this show, everybody. That's what I'm over here thinking, right? We didn't really add a lot of incredible information, just sort of a chit-chat show.
Exactly.
Happy show. We're going away. We're going diving.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to going diving, both in Mexico and tweaking my Sidewinder on the new Katana 2.
Yeah.
I've not had it on that particular side mount harness yet that was made for it, so that's an exciting thing.
I'm excited about 2021.
We need to modify our challenge. Oh, my daughter got the vaccine, everybody. She's a physician's assistant, so she was on the first to get list yesterday.
Nice.
So she's officially got the first dose of the vaccine. I think it was the Pfizer one. What
Cool.
else? What else? 2021, hopefully things start opening back up. I think if the vaccine can get
Yeah.
disseminated in time, it's going to take a while, then countries will start opening back up. That would be a great
Yeah.
change.
I really
2020 has
hope.
been rough.
I really hope for inner space in 2021.
What's the date again now?
It's in
keeps
May.
changing.
It's in May.
Maybe.
I hope so.
Maybe.
I know that the Cayman are taking it super seriously. Like you see that
They
girl
put
from
somebody in
here
jail,
from
didn't
Georgia that got thrown in jail for months, 4 months or something.
In the Caymans, right? They locked her
In the
up.
Caymans,
Yeah,
yes.
They have to. Think
And
about it. You
the
spread
weird
it
part
there,
is
it's bad.
I read the article and the lawyer is like, these are kids. They've never been in trouble. They didn't know. And I'm like, well, I mean, they tell you before you come here, you need to quarantine or don't come. Like if you go and not quarantine, you're breaking the law. Like I didn't get it. But anyway, hopefully they ease those restrictions because I really want to go to inner space.
Yep.
And, I feel bad because it was canceled this year, but now I can go with a little bit more experience, which is always great. So I'm looking forward to that. And, looking forward to 2021. I want to go to that deep spot, that pool in Poland that is like 45
too.
meters, 150 feet
That
or whatever.
would be
100.
phenomenal. I would love to do that.
Yeah, let's go to
And
Poland.
it's got caves. Yeah, I would do that for sure. I would love to do that trip. I'm going to be very busy next year, so I'm a little bit hesitant on booking trips right now. I've got a
Yeah.
lot of stuff ahead of me, but I keep looking at it on the internet. It looks amazing.
We are
I'm going to
in
be in Florida a ton though,
conversations.
next year. Like I'll be in Florida a
lot.
lot. So my dive gear will be with me when I'm in Florida and not working,
Yeah.
and I will be diving tons in Florida.
Nice. All right. Well, awesome, everyone. Thanks so much for
Quick show.
for
How
tuning
long was
in.
That? 30 minutes maybe? A little chit
It
chat?
was about 40 minutes.
Really?
Almost.
Of nothing.
Of
This
nothing.
was the nothing show. Can we call it the nothing show? It's good. Sometimes you want a show that's just Mindless nothingness.
You just want to talk about diving, you know?
We just talked about basic nothingness, but it's okay. I like a show like that once in a while.
People are gonna be disappointed that you think this is
No,
meaningless.
it's not nothing. It's just it's not earth-shattering stuff. It's just
I know, but some people heard this and they were like, "What? I can't get massage. I've been getting massages. This guy's just saved my life." You don't know.
I don't think so.
You don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Pretty sure that nobody thought that of this show.
I don't want to call myself a hero, but I'm just saying, like,
I wouldn't call yourself a hero for many reasons, but that's okay. Hey, by the way,
all right,
okay, everybody,
all right.
have
Well,
a great.
thank you guys.
We're gonna try to record from Cozumel. That
For
could be
sure.
a cool show.
We should, if we can have any energy to do that, we should definitely do that. But thanks everyone. Looking forward to the next episode. Stay safe. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We'll see you next year.
Bye.